Hey guys, Hastings here, and welcome to episode 4 of Rapid Racing. And weirdly, I'm going to be carrying on from a bit of a mix-up in last week's episode. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I'll leave a link to the playlist in the description down below. And we drove this BMW. Spoiler alert from last episode if you haven't gone to check it out yet. But it was very nice to drive. Although, at the very start of the episode, I managed to sort of mess up the audio file of the build and it kind of went a bit funny. So what I did was I sped up the build, which is kind of understandable because it's not the most interesting section to watch of the video anyway. So what I'm going to do is once I've done the class selector and then set the timer, I'm going to go and buy my car, choosing it in livecom. As soon as I've bought my car, I will stop talking, and from there I will speed it up until the point just before my timer finishes, and I'll post-com the build. So you can still know what's going through my head, and why I'm building it, the way I'm building it, but it just won't take as long, and it won't be quite boring, because obviously when I'm building it really quickly, I'm trying not to panic, but it's kind of intense. I want to get the car build done, because obviously I've only got 5 minutes, it's not a huge amount of time. But anyway, let's get into it. I'll go into the buy car section. Got the randomizer app selected on my phone and bring up the filter. Right, let's spin this. That's a really crap spin. Spin. There we go. Probably hear it. I hope so. I'm holding it quite close to the mic so you can hear the spinny nature of its spinniness. That's a thing. We're gonna get. Okay, that's interesting. We've got D class. Right, so the 5 minute starts now. Let's go get D-class car. D-class is boring. Don't like D-class. I've got most of them already apparently. I don't know what to go for. I'm assuming it's not going to take very long to build it because, you know, it's D-class. There's not have a lot of upgrades on it. Aston Martin DB5. Should we go for an old James Bond car? What else is there? There's not really a lot. Let's go for that Bond car. It's quite expensive, but crikey, I've got 14 million credits. Did not realise I had quite that much. I kind of don't want to paint it yellow. What do I want? Yeah, I've got to put my paint job on it. I always put my paint job on it. Right, so I'm gonna go. I've got just over 4 minutes left, so I'm gonna stop talking now, and I'll go and do the build. I'll catch up with you when the timer goes off. Okay, then let's speed through this car build. First thing to notice is the voice of the woman that tells you what car you bought is actually pretty hilarious once she's been sped up a little bit. Now, I was really contemplating what to do with this car, because obviously I've only got a very small amount of PI to play with. I think it's about 35, I think, to maximise it out of D-Class. And I pretty much just thought, right, I think I'm going to just make it lighter. Because we've only got that much, or that little amount of PI to play with. I was thinking, I only want to put things on that's going to benefit both the handling and the speed and acceleration. So there's no point putting like bigger tyre widths on it because they often decrease acceleration. Likewise with like the roll cage and things like that. But I was umming and ahhing whether to put on the full race weight reduction or the sport and then have a few HP left over. But I put on the race weight reduction, which meant we already at 400 PI. And then we play the game called How Much Can We Put on the Car Without Increasing the PI? Not a very fun game to play, I must admit. We managed to get on a driveline and a differential, and then we're looking through every single one of the different wheel trims to see if there's one that will even take it down 1 pound, but without increasing the PI. And it looks like we are going to be unsuccessful. There are a few different rims that he could have put on the car and kept it at 400 PI, but alas, they were all heavier. So with a lot of time left, I went into some tuning. Well, this is going to go well. Me, tuning. Yeah, I just I'm scared to try and do anything really. Lowered the car down a bit. I don't know really. There wasn't a lot I could do. I was reading through the description on the right to see if there's anything that would make a lot of difference. And I think it was about now that the alarm thing. The alarm went off because my 5 minutes was up. Unfortunately, the little bit of audio that I had now, which was live, and I was summarising what I'd just done, I've lost that bit. 2 weeks running, I've lost a bit of audio file for this series. So I promise to try extra hard next week to not mess it up. But hopefully you've seen the car build there. I promise I didn't go over the 5 minutes. I know you didn't hear the alarm, but I did. It was just casually playing the tune of Knight Rider, as it does. I do quite like that tune. It's a classic old show. But anyway, that's the car build done. So I'm going to head into some public lobbies once I've put a paint job on it. And I will see you very shortly. The first race we get put into is at Bathurst. But that's not the most important feature or point I've got to make on this screen. You may be able to see that the driver's side of my car is completely plain yellow. When the video starts, you'll see that the other side has got my normal decals on it. I may have slightly forgot to insert them onto the other side of the car. I've got a slightly different stripe this week as well. I've gone for this plain black and yellow as opposed to the red inserts. You can just about see there. See, I've got some decals on the left hand side. But we started pretty close to the back of the grid, and we got a pretty decent start as well. Up into 3rd position already after just one corner, and we're up behind a Chevrolet and a Trans Am. There was an Escort going very wide in the foreground. There's a picture there, I didn't see that before. I'm not a huge fan of that camera angle where you're on the bonnet view in the replay, because you can't really see what's going on. But we did manage to get past the Chevy and up into 2nd position. And going around the corner on top of the hill, we get very sideways, and the rear of my car clips the Trans Am that was in first, because he'd gone wide and he was trying to regain the racing line, and I tried to go up the inside of him, but I slid out and hit him. Anyway, so yeah, I've dropped to 3rd. But I do manage to get back past up the inside of the Mini pretty quickly, and follow through straight up the inside of the Chevrolet as well. So we are in 1st position. This is going awfully well for an episode of Rapid Racing, although I had to get very sorry about that. I did get very sideways up through that corner. Very close to the wall there as well. Yeah, that plain white, yellow even side of the car doesn't look very nice. And I hit the wall again there, allowing the Mini to get right up close behind us. Just about managed to hold it around the outside of that corner. And coming down into this section, it's a quite tight and twisty section. So it's fairly easy to be able to defend against the Mini down here, and we can hopefully hold him off until we get to the straight line. Touched the wall again there, but fortunately, even though we were sliding at the time, it didn't throw us into a spin. Coming down now to the corner before the nice long straight, and I run incredibly wide. I was very fortunate not to run into the barrier that time, and the Mini went up the inside of us. Although I'm about to discover one hell of a trait of this car. What the hell is going on here? Its straight line speed is immense. Look at that gap back to the Mini already. It's absolutely phenomenal in a straight line. Normally you get cars that are this quick in a straight line, you just can't drive them through the corners. But although I was getting a bit sideways through those sections, it's not like I was being left behind by even the Mini, which is a very quick car and a very handling orientated car. But I've just completely lost him. Where is he? He's back up there already. I'm coming down into the final corner now, at the end of the first lap, and look at that lead. Could this possibly be the first win of the series? One hell of a gap at the end of the first lap. And I'm going to tell you, not a lot happened on the second lap either. Jumping now, back onto the big long straight. Second lap, final lap. It's a very long track, Bathurst, so at D-Class they only give you 2 laps to do. But yeah, we're back onto the long straight again, and there's no one else to be seen. We're still in 1st position, so it looks like we're going to come home to take our first victory of the series. Coming up now to the chicane, and then there's just one more corner to go after that. Brake disc glowing nicely, getting a little bit sideways. We still can't see that Mini in the distance. Well, I'm assuming it's still the Mini that's in 2nd position, but I haven't seen anyone for practically the entire race or the time. Oh, there's the Mini, just popping its head over the crest as we come around the final corner. But yeah, after the sort of first lap, it was boring for me. I didn't really do anything. But that's fantastic because we've got a nice DB5, fantastic start to the episode with our first win. And our second race takes us to Laguna Seca. Not really a fan of this track, I must admit. And again, we're starting relatively close to the back. But again, we get a very good start. There was a bit of a bump there on the start line. I don't really know what happened. I think that Alpha was involved, which started very slowly in the first race as well. So I don't know really what's going on there. We're up to third already, and we're looking to hold it round the outside of a... is it a Trans Am? There's a bit of an incident there, and I squeezed through the gap that the two in front of me left when they went spinning. That was very nerve-wracking at the time, I can tell you. But look at that, we're in the lead again. What is going on with this car? But as we come up to the corkscrew now, which is jump forward a bit because not really a lot happened, and this car was very unhappy with the corkscrew. There's a Ford Escort that was looking to attack us, and we managed to hold him off for now. But I went very wide through that corner and even went off shot, and the Escort has managed to get in front of us. And again, we're very sideways through the corners. It was very difficult to keep this car in a straight line. No, it wasn't, sorry, I didn't mean that. It's not hard to keep in a straight line. It's hard to not slide it round the corners. It's very tail happy. But as we managed to hold on to second position, we use our immense straight line speed to take first position back off the Escort, albeit rather briefly. I'm not really going to go around the outside of him there. Not with this car, it's just too tail happy. It was lovely to drive, but it just needed a little bit more stability in the corners. And jumping forward pretty much to the end of that lap, we're coming back to the last section again, and the Mini's gone up the inside of us, and so has the Honda Civic behind him. We've lost 2 positions in one corner. That's penultimate corner there. As we go into the final corner, I'm looking to try and make it 3 wide. That's never going to go well. I'll just sit back and I'll wait, and I'll use my amazing straight line speed to power past both of them and retake second position. Another podium could be on the cards in this race. But as we come down to the first corner, we've got quite a decent lead, so we haven't got a huge amount of defending to do for the immediate future. However, coming back to the same section at the end of the lap again, through the second to last corner there, and going up into the last corner, we are in second position, but the Mini goes up the inside and doesn't quite give us enough room, although maybe I could have used a bit more of the track, I don't know. But we get bumped off and we're back down to 4th position. However, again, the incredible straight line speed allows us to get back past both of them before the first corner, and we're back up into 2nd position. There's a lot of changing positions in this race, I can tell you. Again, there already, the Mini's gone up the inside of us, as had the Civic in front of him, and we're still running side by side with the Mini all the way through this corner as well. We're on the inside line there, and I sort of returned the favour from earlier, just squeezing them out a little bit wide, and we managed to hold them off, for now at least. As we come into the corkscrew on this last lap, I got it very wrong. I don't like the corkscrew at the best of times. I don't like the whole track at the best of times, and least so the corkscrew. And in this car, which is very happy to drift off sideways, it was a very difficult corner to get right. And that's a shame, because I was ahead of the Mini. I was thinking I could probably hold him off. Even if he got past, I might have still been close enough to mount an attack coming out of the final corner with my amazing straight line speed. But because of my mistake, I was not close enough. But I still came home in 4th position, which I think is quite respectable for this car on this track. It's not exactly a straight line speed orientated track. This one is though, and we're starting on pole. Our 3rd and final race takes us to Road America, the full layout. And yeah, this one is definitely a straight line speed orientated track. And I've got a straight line speed orientated car, and I'm starting on pole. This could be interesting. We get a very good launch. We've seen that in all 3 races this episode. And look at that gap already. That's what? A few seconds gap already? Crikey, that... Yeah. We have got one hell of a lead. That is the first corner. Compulsory to get the car sideways, of course. Car going backwards in the back of shot there. And this was one of the most boring races I've had. Probably the most boring race I've had while driving cars for this series. I know we're only 4 episodes in, but even so, I've done that. That's 12. This is my 12th race now in this series, and it's by far the most boring. But not in a bad way. I mean, I took the lead. Well, I didn't take the lead. I started in the lead, and I just drove off into the distance. Here we are coming up to start our second lap, and I thought I'd leave this bit in it, because I have a little bit of an argument with a Chevrolet board. May have slightly punted that across the track, and that's going to take out another one as well, so we're just having a little bit of an argument with those. But yeah, there was zero highlights to show from this race, because nothing happened. You can see in all these screenshots, there's just no one else around me. This is the best one. I made sure I put this clip in. It's the last, coming up to the last section, and that's the best shot you're going to see of the fact there's no cars behind me. And here again, maybe, yeah, there's just nobody. All I've got to do is just keep it clean and drive the car. So I guess we could sort of just move on a little bit while we wait for my past self to finish this race and jump ahead a bit on our scores. Well, it's no surprise to you in this third race that I took the victory, considering there's nothing happened, which I also did in race 1 as well, which is a fantastic start. A 4th position in race 2 does let it down a little bit, but I think this car got pretty lucky with its tracks. Got 2 tracks in Bathurst and Road America that were very straight line speed orientated. So that definitely helped the performance of this car. So we're going to give it, well, we're not going to give it, it has earned itself 6 points from the 3 races. Now, in terms of the points that I am going to give it, for speed, although it did win 2 out of the 3 races, it was probably Laguna Seca that was the most important race out of the 3, because that is the most sort of typical all-round track. There are some straights there, the start-finish straight especially, you saw me overtake at pretty much everything. But it really did rather struggle around the corners. But in consideration of the fact that it did win 2 of the 3 races, and considering we'd never won a race before in this series, I am going to give it a score of 3 for speed, which is the same as the BMW last week. That didn't do quite so well in terms of race positions, but it was just as quick. I had probably worse luck in the track choices, and maybe I had harder opposition as well. You never know, things are going to vary. In terms of drivability, it was great fun to drive, but sliding it around was really annoying because you made up so much time on the straights, and then it'd just go and throw it all the way through the corners. It was so frustrating because it wasn't even like it was that tail happy. The whole car would just sort of drift out wide. I guess it's because I left the stock tyres on it, but that's just what happened. So I'm going to give this car a score of 5, which isn't as nice as the BMW, but it was definitely much nicer than the Mustang and the Mini. So that gives this car a total score of 14 points, putting it 2 points clear at the top of our table. So every single week so far, the car we've had has gone to the top of the leaderboard. Let's see if we can keep that up next week as well, eh? So until then, Hastings out. Goodbye.